Good morning. Thank you once again for joining me for day 14, 30 Days of Qigong to Better Health. My name is Chris Shelton, and today we're doing a simple meditation called the Renewal of Spirit Meditation. A lot of times people don't realize that we have not only daily cycles, but we also have weekly cycles, monthly cycles, yearly cycles, and in Chinese philosophy this goes on and on and on. We also are closely connected to nature, and we're deeply influenced by the transitions of the seasons. These transitions of the seasons also fold back into our internal organs. So this meditation can be done once a week. It can be done daily to do a daily renewal cleansing as a cleansing exercise to renew yourself for the day. Or it can be done during the different equinoxes throughout the year or on a yearly cycle. Whatever you feel is necessary in order for you to take some time in order to rejuvenate your energy and rejuvenate your organs and their associated systems. Very simple practice. And what's going to happen is that we're going to start off by standing in our Wu Ji posture. We're going to begin to imagine and focus on the lower dantian. With the lower dantian, we're going to imagine breathing, imagine a white pearl spinning and turning. And because we're focusing more on the cleansing aspects of this practice, we're going to imagine that this white pearl actually starts to peel away layers of the pearl and becomes brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. Okay, and then from there what's going to happen is that we're going to then imagine golden light coming up, filling up into that lower dantian from the earth. And then from there, going up into the upper dantian, we're going to imagine that this white pearl is actually encapsulated by the brown turbid energy of life, all the negative thoughts, the ego, etc. And we're going to imagine this as like a brown ball that begins to spin in the upper dantian, and as it begins to spin, we're going to imagine that from its spinning action that it begins to peel away these layers, kind of like what we're doing with these Qigong practices in general. We're peeling away the layers to get to the subtle essence of our being, as well as improving the overall vitality of our being. So as we do the practice, we're going to imagine that this brown ball peels away until you start to see this brilliant white light that begins to emanate in all directions, and with your eyes closed, you're going to imagine that it emanates and fills up the entire head region. Just a brilliant, beautiful white light expanding in all directions. And then the energy from heaven and earth are going to come together, melting down through the body into a meeting here, what they call is the xiphoid process or the yellow quartz region. And from here, the energy is going to mix. We're going to imagine that earthly energy and heavenly energy are going to mix. And then what's going to happen from there is then I'm going to talk you through guiding this energy out through the feet and down deep into the ground. And once I talk you through this, and once we feel that we have this turbid energy released from the body, then we're going to slowly start to awaken the different sense orifices of the body, beginning with the ears. You're going to focus on the ears. Imagine that the ears really open up. You can hear everything around you. And then the nose and the sense of taste. You're going to feel the saliva in your mouth. The sense of touch. What do you feel? And then from there, last but not least, then we're going to open up the eyes and imagine that the eyes themselves become very clear, very bright. And from there, focusing on all the different functions, we're going to imagine that they're at a heightened alert, that they're at their utmost capability in order to receive what's going on in our environment. So a really simple practice. You know, people should take more time. It used to be, at least when I was a kid, that on Sundays was a day that everybody went to church and you took it easy. Nobody worked, or most people didn't work. Stores weren't open, the mall wasn't open, and this was a time to rejuvenate yourself and to collect yourself, go return to your original essence, you know, whether you went to church or if you did a private home meditation practice or some type of invocation, but just taking that time in order to connect with God, in order to connect with your higher self, and to take it easy. Because in Chinese medicine and Chinese philosophy, there's yin and yang energies that happen not only throughout the day, but also throughout the week, throughout the year, etc., etc. And on Sunday is when the yang energy is starting to rise. By Wednesday, the yang energy is at its utmost, and then it starts to decline down by Saturday, and then it begins to rise again on Sunday. So Sunday is the time when this valuable yang energy, kind of like the early morning, is starting to rise again. So if you made this into a weekly practice to get back into a practice of cultivating yourself, of quieting your mind, of opening yourself up to your higher self, this would be a good practice in order to rejuvenate yourself for the upcoming week. Okay, so let's begin. Like always, we're going to start off in our Wu-Ji posture. Our feet are out about shoulders width apart. Our knees are slightly bent, tucking the sacrum underneath, which then presses back to being men, right opposite the navel. Tucking the chin, pressing up on the crown point and the top of the head. Tip the tongue gently curled to the roof of the mouth behind the teeth, as if saying the letter N. Breath long, steady, even, and deep into the lower abdomen, calming the mind. And from here, we begin by pulling down the heavens 3 times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Gathering, connecting to your higher power, whatever that may be. Imagine this white light flowing down through the body, through the feet, and down deep into the ground. And from here, inhale, bring the arms up, exhale, release. Inhaling center, exhale as you toss. Allowing for any stagnant energy in the body, any excessive thoughts, feelings, or emotions to flow away, going several feet away from the body and down deep into the ground. Any tension in the shoulders and the neck, allow for that to flow away. If you got up this morning and something was troubling you from the day before or the week before, or you had a disturbing dream, you could actually imagine that flowing away, flowing off the tips of the fingers, going several feet away from the body and down deep into the ground. Just allowing for that turbid energy to flow away, and then slowly coming back to the center and end, pulling back the heavens 3 times. Inhale and exhale. Gathering, inhale, exhaling, releasing out any negative emotions, thoughts, or feelings, calming the mind, flowing down deep into the ground. And then from there, bring the feet a little bit closer together. Closing the eyes, begin to lightly bounce. From here, we're just going to focus on the major joints and gates of the body, starting with the ankles. Allow for any tension or tightness in the ankles to release down. Flowing out through the bottom of the feet, down deep into the ground. Next, focusing on the knees, any tension, discomfort in the knees. Allow for that to release. Guiding out through the ankles, out through the feet, and down deep into the earth. Next, the low back, the hips. If you have any tension or tightness there, just imagine this gentle vibration, this gentle shaking on the balls of the feet, or bouncing on the balls of the feet. Releases that out, guiding it out through the bottom of the feet and down deep into the ground. Next, the back, especially the mid-back in between the shoulder blades opposite the heart. If you feel any emotions that may be stuck there, tightness, tension, allow for that to release out, guiding it out through the body, up through the legs, through the feet, and deep into the earth. Next, the fingers, the wrists. Releasing out all tension and tightness from the wrists, hands, and fingers. Out through the fingertips and deep into the earth. Moving up to the elbows, shoulders, the head and neck, releasing all the tension, tightness from these areas as well, guiding it out through the arms, out through the fingers, and deep into the ground. And then from there, we stop bouncing, and then we inhale, pulling the golden light up from the earth beyond the top of the head. Exhale, dropping any turbid energy deep into the ground. Inhaling up, and drop. And again, up, and drop. And then from there, we're just going to step out. My favorite practice, shaking the tree. Inhaling, shaking it off all the way up the body. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling all the way up. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. And 2 more. Inhale. Last one. And then from there, just collecting the energy back 3 times. Inhale. Exhaling. Feel that white light. Feel any heat that was stirred up from the shaking. Releasing out with the white light out through the feet and down deep into the ground. Inhale. And exhale and release. And then from there, still standing in your Wuji posture or in the seated position. Seated Wuji. Feet out, shoulders width apart. Knees bent, slightly bent. Hands resting if you're sitting on the top of the knees. The palms either face down, face up. Gently tucking the chin, elongating the cervical spine, pressing up at the crown point at the top of the head. Breath is long, steady, even and deep into the lower dantian, lower abdomen, 1 inch below the navel. From here, going into the center and balance meditation. Imagine warm oil that begins to flow down from the scalp, from the top of the head, through the entire scalp and forehead, through the temples, through the brow bone, eyebrows, and eyes, the sides of the face, the nose, the cheeks, the lips, the chin and jaw structure. Inch by inch, cell by cell, tissue by tissue, flowing through the front of the neck and throat, enveloping the upper shoulders and through the biceps, elbow creases, forearms, wrists, palms of the hands, leading all the way out to the fingertips. So keeping a strong connection between heaven and earth, this warm oil envelops the entire chest, the flanks of the body, underneath the armpits, through the ribs, through the mid-abdomen, the lower abdomen, the waist, the groin, the thighs, the knees, shins, ankles, feet and toes, all connecting, all flowing off deep into the ground. And from there, feel the entire front of the body from head to toe. Feel everything to the left as well as to the right, becoming mindful of your entire being. Feel what's there. And next, begin to melt down to the back of the head, to the back of the ears, the base of the skull, through the neck, through the shoulders, through the triceps, elbows, forearms, wrists, back of the hands, all the way out to the fingertips. From the base of the neck, through the shoulders, mid-back, low back, flowing through the trunk, through the buttocks and the hamstrings, the back of the knees, the back of the calves, ankles, feet and toes, all connecting, and allow for this warm oil to flow down deep into the ground. And connecting with your higher power, we're just going to melt down very quickly through the center of the body. You feel this white light penetrate into the brain and surrounding tissues. You feel the skull, you visualize the skull. Behind the eyes, the nerve endings behind the eyes. the muscles of the face, the veins, the capillaries, visualizing the sinus cavity, the inner ear, the jaw structure, the teeth, the tongue, flowing down inch by inch, cell by cell, tissue by tissue. Through each of the vertebrae of the neck and throat, the muscles, arteries of the neck and throat, flowing down, branching off into the shoulders. Feel the fascia, the connective tissue of the upper chest, upper back, the muscles, the bones, flowing down into the center of the arms. You feel the center of the biceps, triceps. You feel the bones leading into the elbows. Feel the forearms. Feel the muscles surrounding them. Feel the wrists, all the small bones, tendons, ligaments of the wrists, hands, and fingers. And from there, this white light continues to travel down through each rib. Feel the spaces between the ribs. Feel the vertebra on the back. Feel the heart, the lungs, the liver and gallbladder. On the right side of the body, visualizing the stomach and spleen. On the left, traveling down into the intestines, the kidneys, the bladder, the pelvic bone, the bones of the legs. You feel the muscles surrounding them, the knees, the center of the shins and calves, ankles, all the small bones, tendons, ligaments of the feet and toes. And this white light flows down deep into the ground. And next, imagine your feet melted into the floor like you're standing on a sea of liquid energy. It comes up to the height of the ankles. And from there, imagine roots growing out from the bottom of the feet, from the bubbling well points, all the way down to the center core of the earth. And as you inhale, you imagine this golden light begins to flow up into the upper dantian or lower dantian as we inhale. As we exhale, releasing out any toxicity out through the legs, out through the feet, and deep into the ground. Inhaling, filling up into the organs, into the visceral cavity, and then as we exhale, pushing out any toxicity deep into the ground. Good. And with this earthly connection, we now focus our intention on the lower dantian and imagine a mystical pearl in the lower dantian. That begins to spiral and rotate. And as it spirals and rotates, it begins to peel away the layers. And this white light begins to emanate from the lower dantian. As this sphere or as this pearl spirals and rotates, it becomes brighter and brighter and brighter. Now imagine that this pearl actually turns a light blue color related back to the kidneys and the lower dantian. And you emanate this beautiful blue light from the lower dantian, cleansing, purifying the kidneys, everything in what is known as the lower burner. And then from there you begin to feel this golden light that comes up and fills up into the lower dantian. Imagine this lower dantian becomes this brilliant yellow light, this like the sun, emanating from your lower energy center, illuminating your senses. Feel this yellow light that comes up through the legs into the lower dantian, just feeding the sun or feeding this yellow sphere of energy, expanding all directions. And then from there, focusing on the upper dantian, behind the third eye in the center of the head. From here, we're going to imagine like a brown ball, or some people might even say like a brown pearl, that's taking on the toxicity of our negative thinking, the self-limiting beliefs that our ego has told to us, the repetitive thoughts that our mind tends to play over and over and over again. Imagine this as like a brown ball or a brown pearl that's just been collecting this toxicity, this negative way of thinking that obstructs our truth, that obstructs our ability to be ourselves, to feel our connection to the whole, and allow for this to begin to spiral and to rotate. Imagine the sphere, this brown sphere, begins to rotate in the upper dantian. And as this happens, it slowly begins to peel away the layers. And as these layers begin to melt away of past negative thought patterns, trauma, imagine from there that this brilliant white light begins to break through the darkness. And as it spirals and vibrates, shaking off more and more of this negative way of thinking, toxicity, it peels away the layers until all we have left now is this brilliant white light or bright pearl illuminating our senses in the upper dantian. And imagine this white mystical pearl in the upper dantian collecting the energy from heaven. And as it comes in through the top of the head at the bahway or the crown point, imagine that this white light begins to flow down through the tissues, through the face, through the center of the neck, through the chest. And from here, imagining that the golden light from the earth, both the white light and the golden light mix together and meet as one in the xiphoid process, mixing yin and yang together in the center here. And then from there, as the white light from heaven continues to pour down through the center of the body, rejuvenating, renewing your spirit, it pushes out any toxicity out of the arm. Imagine this just pouring out of the arms, out of the fingertips as a dark cloud going deep into the ground. As this white light, white and yellow light begins to flow down through the visceral cavity, flowing down through the hips, through the legs, through the feet, and into the ground. Just feel and visualize any negativity, any toxicity in your body, any emotions, the false self, peeling away the layers, rejuvenating your energy, rejuvenating your body, just being the true being that you are. Imagine as though now you're standing in a space of complete emptiness and white light. The physical form has melted away. And all you feel is the beingness that you are and its connection to the whole. No mind, no thoughts, no self. Feel this all happen all at once. Feel the peace of having no mind, no thoughts, no ego, no physical pain, no trauma. Very good. And then from there, slowly coming back. Feeling your body, your legs, your bones, your entire skeletal structure, through the hips, through the spine, through the ribs, through the skull, the neck, down through the arms and the fingers. Feel your bones rejuvenated, strong, healthy. Feel the marrow also strong, healthy. All the muscles, the sinews, all the arteries in your body, the organs, feeling the organs, feeling the blood vessels and the veins. Feel this rich, clean blood that circulates through the entire organism rejuvenated, renewed, refreshed. Your digestive system, the brain. And then from there, beginning to open up your sensory organs that are connected to the different internal organs of the body. Starting with the ears and its connection to the kidneys. Feel the ears open up. Hear everything in the space around you. Your body. Any sounds your body might be making, any noise in the room, subtle noise. And then from there, the breath flowing in through the nose and its connection to the lungs. Feel the breath coming into the nose. Feel the skin also connected to the lungs. Feel the pores open up on the skin. Imagine this rich, clean qi flowing in through the nose, filling up the lungs as you inhale. Flowing through the sinuses, through the bronchial tubes, filling up the lungs. You now feel that the nose, the sense of smell, is now rejuvenated, refreshed. And then from there, the saliva, the tongue, its connection to the heart. All the taste buds on the tongue open up, feeling the sense of taste. And then guiding this down, the saliva down into the stomach and spleen, opening up the stomach and spleen. So the sense of taste, rejuvenated, renewed for the day, for the solstice, for the week. Whatever time you're doing this practice. And then from there, slowly open up the eyes and the sense of sight, its connection to the liver. The sight, clear, bright, taking in everything in your surroundings. And from there, you should feel completely rejuvenated, refreshed, ready to start your day. And from there, pulling back the heavens 3 times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then after pulling down the heavens the 3rd time, placing the hands over the lower dantian, 1 inch below the navel. Imagine a white mystical pearl that forms underneath the hands. And as you inhale, imagine the white pearl as it expands, filling up with this white light of energy. Then as you exhale, feel this white light rejuvenate and restore the kidneys on the low back. As you inhale, feel the white pearl expand. And then as you exhale, feel it contract, releasing the warmth into the kidneys, increasing the vitality. Inhaling. And exhale. And then from there, slowly open up your eyes. And coming out of your Wuji posture, just kind of shake it off a little bit. Wow, that's an amazing meditation to do. This is a great practice, again, for starting off your day, starting off your week, or if you pay attention to the transition of the seasons, or if you know the monthly cycles, the yearly cycles, and it goes on and on and on, then this is good practice to give back to yourself, to quiet your mind. It's a gentle cleansing exercise, kind of like what some people would do when they would do an internal cleanse with various foods or herbs or whatnot, but this is a way through a meditation to cleanse yourself and to rejuvenate your energy. My name is Chris Shelton. Thank you once again for joining me for day number 14, 30 Days of Qigong to Better Health. I have a saying that Qigong is a simple practice with profound results. Until tomorrow, sei la Qi.